Welcome to Moments with Marianne. This is your host, Marianne Pastana, and we're here today with special guest, Lauren Gibbons Paul, who's here to share with us her new novel, The Steps Between Us. What if one bold choice in midlife had the power to rewrite your entire story? Well, today's guest is here to share with us just that. Lauren Gibbons Paul is a Boston-based freelance writer. For over 30 years, she has covered how organizations use technology to advance business goals. She got interested in ballroom dancing roughly 7 years ago when she started taking lessons with a Hungarian pro. Lauren was interested in the lives of the pros at her dance studio, all who were born in other countries. Invited to come here, they are pursuing their own version of the American dream, but the odds are stacked against them, even when there is no criminal network running the studio, as in The Steps Between Us. So welcome to the show, Lauren Gibbons Paul.
Thank you.
What an honor it is to have you here and to talk about this book. So what even inspired you to write this?
So I have been a business journalist, like a technology journalist, for 30 years. And about 7 years ago, on a whim, I went to a Friday night dance party at a studio, a ballroom dance studio. And from the minute I walked in the door to that studio, I was completely blown away by the dancing and by the whole scene and the glitter and the glamour and the people. So I started taking lessons and I just got very interested in the whole phenomenon, probably more interested in the whole phenomenon than I was in actually learning to dance myself because I'm still not very good 7 years later.
Well, it's not often you hear people talk about ballroom dancing, and what a unique story. Can you share a little bit about it with us?
Sure, sure. So ballroom dance is very interesting. About 50 years ago or 30 years ago, let's say in this country, kids in school would have dance lessons or their parents would send them even for more dance lessons. So girls and boys, everyone got some dance lessons. And certainly more than 30 years ago, this would have been very prevalent. 50 years ago, and you would be expected to dance. I mean, they would have dances and, you would see people doing waltz and foxtrot and, things like that. And it was just a very sort of established custom. We have come away from that. I mean, I didn't have any dance education when I was in school, of course. And I think that's a real loss. I think the phenomenon of dance, what I've discovered, is that it's irresistible. It's a very human activity. People love to dance. It's very transporting. It takes you out of your own life and puts you into a space where you're just feeling and doing without thinking. And I think that's very relaxing and rejuvenating for the human spirit. Dance is a wonderful activity, a wonderful pastime, but it comes with the downside, which is that almost everybody is very, very scared of dancing. I mean, you see it at weddings. The wedding DJ starts trying to get people on the dance floor. You see a couple people around the edges, and then maybe you see people joining in, but everyone feels kind of silly and they feel very self-conscious, and that is something that dance brings out. So it's got those two sides. You can lose yourself or you could be very self-conscious. And I've discovered that this seems to be a universal phenomenon. Everybody, I have friends who are magnificent dancers, who win championships, who have medals and awards and trophies. They still feel insecure about dance. Even the dance professionals will feel insecure about dance to some degree. So it seems to be a very human phenomenon. So dance taking lessons, obviously the idea is to lessen the insecurity and lessen the lack of confidence. And it does do that. The lessons do help you quite a bit. But there's that moment right before you go on the dance floor. There's this moment of trepidation and fear. Like, am I going to be able to do this? So my character in The Steps Between Us, my protagonist, her name's Ava. She is 52 years old when she starts out in this world. And she comes in with a lot of scars and baggage related to dance. So her mother, when Ava was a little girl, she and her sister took ballet. A lot of girls do. And she just wasn't great. Wasn't great at ballet. So the ballet mistress, which is what they would have been called at the time, just told her mother she should quit. Basically, you're wasting your money. So poor little Ava, never forgot this and carried those scars of not being good enough and not deserving to be part of the dance world. So when she was 52, her children left home for college. She had an empty nest and she was looking around for something to do with her time. So she fell upon this ballroom and she really walks in the door feeling she has something to prove. She was fired long ago from dance, told she wasn't good enough. And even though it doesn't matter, if you're not good at dance, so what? No, no one dies. I mean, it's fine. But she feels that she wants to do it. She sees this world, she's irresistibly drawn into it. She wants to be able to dance. So she's fighting her own inner demons and her own ability, her own belief that she can't do it. So that's what she's there for, and that's what draws her in.
Your book is such a profound read. Once I started, I did not want to put it down. You mentioned the theme of fear and how some dancers are fearful, which is a little surprising. What are some of the other themes that you cover in this book?
Sure. So it's really the story of the two protagonists. So I just mentioned about Ava, who's the empty nester. She's got something to prove because people have told her she's terrible at dance, so she wants to prove them wrong. And then her counterpart, since this is ballroom, you have a partner, and her counterpart is her instructor, Nandor. He is from Hungary, and he is 20 years exactly younger than she is. Very handsome, charming, lovable guy, but very volatile. Great dancer, brilliant dancer, great teacher. But he is there, so it's a different story for him. He has been recruited, which a lot of ballroom dance pros are recruited from overseas. We don't have a lot of native people here who are trained in ballroom to be professionals. What happens, or at least happened in that era, was that the studios would recruit professionals from other countries, a lot of Eastern European countries like Hungary, like Russia, Ukraine, Romania, Poland, and they would be brought here on an H-1B visa program to be dance professionals and to earn their permanent green card or permanent residency so that they could work here. And they come over wanting the whole thing. They want the American dream. They want to succeed. They want to be able to make more money than they can make in their native country. Most of them are just very in love with the whole American vibe. They want the car and the picket fence and the house, and they want the whole American experience that is portrayed in movies that they saw in their countries. So they are here, they're all in, but they find out that it's a pretty difficult way to make a living, actually. The clients come and go. The studios can be a bit volatile. And so, it's sort of like they are sold one vision, and when they get here, they find out it's something different. That's not to say, that it's horrible all the time. It isn't, but they have more obstacles than they had expected.
Well, I'm sure many people think, "Hey, I'm getting paid more money coming to the US," but the expense end is something I think a lot of people are not prepared for when they do arrive.
Hmm. And in this case, so in my story, at this particular dance studio, which is called Dance Freak, it's in New York City, because the studio brings them over and sponsors them through this H-1B visa program. The studio effectively takes responsibility for these professionals while they're here until they get their permanent green card. But as in exchange for bringing them over from their countries, they have to enter into a contract that is pretty burdensome. So they can't, it's a non-compete. So they're not allowed to, if they want to leave the studio, for example, For 2 years, they're not allowed to teach dance within a radius of like 25 or 30 miles of the studio. So effectively, that means they can't leave because they're not going to be able to make a living. If they can't take their clients and if they can't teach anywhere near the studio, they effectively can't leave. So that's unexpected. And then in this particular story, the studio, which has some dark things happening, they actually have an immigration attorney who is not on the level, who's sort of slow walking all of them getting citizenship in order to just squeeze more money out of them. And in this case, the fictional studio is in cahoots with the immigration lawyer and in cahoots with some dark characters.
Well, it sounds like you've done so much research for this book, and I'm just shocked to hear some of the real life stats that you're sharing. Was there anything else that you discovered that really surprised you?
Oh, the whole thing is surprising. It's one surprise after another. Even now, the whole experience is interesting. I think what surprises me the most about this phenomenon was what I said at the beginning, which is that everybody has insecurity with dance. And everybody has fear of dance to greater or lesser degree. Now, some people have a major phobia. In fact, in the book, most of the husbands of the clients absolutely hate dance. They hate the dance world. They hate anything having to do with dance. They have no interest, but that stems from insecurity too. And so I've discovered that everybody comes into it. And then once you get into the dance world, most people are so consumed with their own insecurities and fears that they don't really even realize that everyone else is going through it too. That, after 7 years, I can say I have finally realized it's not just me, because I tended to think, and my character too, I tended to think, I'm uniquely bad. So I shouldn't be here, and everyone else is fantastic. Look at how great they are. But I've discovered that we all come to this with some degree of insecurity. And it's just a matter of, like building up the narrative that you are a good dancer, you are good enough, you deserve to be seen.
So, with Ava's story, you have her as a middle age empty nester. Was there importance in having this character be at this place in her life?
Oh, yes, absolutely. So she's worried. So the stakes for Ava are that, so she's 52, she's sort of on the cusp, she's coming into those middle to later years of her life. And you know, she wants to be seen. She wants to flirt. She wants to have fun. She wants to have people, including men, notice her. She doesn't want to be invisible. She saw her mother go through something very sad where, as she got older, nobody noticed her. And it was very sad and very hard for her. So she goes in wanting to avoid that. She wants attention, interaction, engagement, the things that we really all want. And then when she arrives at the studio, it's really part of the business model for the pros to flirt with their clients. And there's a good reason for that. It's not just cynical, squeezing money out. It's not just the clients paying to be flirted with. It's that the ballroom dances themselves are quite romantic. Some of them are quite sexy. So there's this nexus between the client and the pro. There's a little relationship there. I call it a fake romance. It can look like a romance. They hold hands. He puts his arm around her. They're very, very close. They spend tons of time together. It's sort of a different kind of relationship. Now, at times, as you might imagine, that can go overboard, and it can result in affairs. And certainly in the book, that is the case. But most of these relationships are they're platonic, but they look like little romances. And to have a platonic romance at that stage in life is is pretty enjoyable. And Ava's husband knows all about it. None of this is secret.
And we won't go into that any further.
Exactly.
That could get us in trouble. You did touch on the legalities of it, the immigration portion of it. Was there anything else that you discovered? I mean, because it sounds like with people as they immigrate over, the instructors, there's so much that's expected of them. There must be lots of pitfalls.
Yeah, I mean, I think so. For the most part, they all handle it well. I guess the pitfalls, when they come to this country, my understanding is that for most of these ballroom dance pros, they're not employees of these studios. So they don't even have the degree of protections that an American employee would have or a regular employee would have, even though, we have employment at will in this country, so employees don't have all that much protection either. But in other words, they're not paid, they have to earn every hour of pay. So they need to have an hour with a client to receive an hour of pay. So anytime you have a job like that, it means you're going to be hustling. So these people, men and women, work very, very hard, and there's no protections. Clients get injured, they run out of money, they can't afford it anymore. It's a very expensive hobby. And worst case scenario, the pros can be injured. I mean, it's very vulnerable, but a lot of them do make a go of it and find a lot of success, luckily.
What would you like readers and our listeners to take away from the steps between us?
What I would like them to take away is give dance a chance. I think it's such an amazing, as I said at the beginning, this way of transporting out of your normal life. And you think you may not be interested, but give it a chance. It's really a special world, and it's a lot of fun.
So, Lauren, where can our listeners connect with you and learn more about your work and be part of your community?
Oh, thanks for asking. So the book is on Amazon Kindle, and it also comes in hardback and paperback. And you could also go to my website, which is laurengibbonspaul.com, LaurenGibbonspaul.com. And you could sign up for my newsletter.
Well, Lauren, thank you so much for taking the time to be on the show with us here today.
Marianne, thank you. It was great.
Well, thank you, Lauren. It's been such an honor to spend this time with you and to talk about your new novel, The Steps Between Us. Well, we're at the end of our time today. I'd like to thank everyone for tuning in. You've been listening to Moments with Marianne, where we make every moment count.
In a single moment, your life can change. Moments with Marianne is a transformative hour that covers an endless array of topics with the best of the best. Her guests are leaders in their fields, ranging from inspirational authors, top industry leaders, and business and spiritual entrepreneurs. Each guest is gifted and a true visionary, a recognized leader in her own work, and while teaching others to develop, refocus, and grow, Marianne will bring the best guest and sometimes a special surprise. Don't miss this. You never know just which moment will change your life forever. Make sure to tune in and visit momentswithmarianne.com for more information.